And listen up, Maryland, alongside Ryan Renner. It's Phil Becerra. You already know who it is. And Ryan, we're back to recap yet another UConn women's basketball game. 90-49. The Huskies improved to 19-5. Georgetown Hoyas improve. Actually, they fall to 7-17 on the season, on the late season. Ryan, not to get into it now, but it is getting a little bit lighter during the daytime. It's starting to get a little bit warmer, so that means March Madness is right around the corner. But enough of that talk. We don't want to jump to it far ahead of ourselves. Ryan, another strong outing for these Huskies. This starts a 4-game home stretch for the Huskies. They haven't been home for a while, but this is the first of a 4-game homestand. I want to get into a lot of different details with you in this episode here as we try to hit on a lot of different pieces to the puzzle as we're wrapping up the regular season. I hate to see it go, but a lot of big games ahead of us, hopefully in March, right? So yeah, let's start out with the scoring and we'll go from there. Ryan, let's see. Let's first hit on the fact that I'll get into Paige Bueckers in just a second, but how important is this 4-game home stretch? Let's start with that, because we've seen other teams, even unranked teams, that have came in and beat UConn, and we didn't really expect that to happen. Any given day, any given moment, I'm sure head coach Gino would agree with that. So let's just first of all start out how important this 4-game home stretch is. It looks like UConn can win all 4 on paper, of course, but we know the Huskies this year are not the same Huskies as the past 10 years.
Yeah, and plus, even with the win today, they get a 4-game win streak, but they're still only a half game ahead of Creighton in the conference. So it's going to be a little battle at the end here to see who comes out on top between them and Creighton. So these past 3-4 games that they have left on their schedule are really, really important for UConn. But yeah, like you mentioned, another big win today, 41-point win, 4-game win streak. Like I mentioned, only the 3rd time UConn scored 90 or more points. The starting lineup for me is what's important. Leah Edwards, Dorka Juhas, Azzi Fudd, Nika Mule, and Kristen Williams in the starting lineup for the past 4 games now on this win streak seems to be working out pretty well. After that loss to Villanova that UConn suffered, Gino opted to go with the bigger lineup instead of having 4 guards and 1 forward out there. He now has 2 forwards and 3 guards with the bigger lineup. So, and like I keep mentioning, I really love how Avina Westbrook plays coming off the bench. She scored 9 points again today, 4 assists coming off the bench as well. And again, with Caroline Ducharme, Olivia Nelson-Adota healthy for these past 2 games, they've came off the bench as well. And you really start to see these minutes get split up. Everybody played between 23 and 25 minutes. Dorka played 13. Kristen Williams played 33. But, my point is the fully healthy team besides Paige Bueckers, of course, we're starting to see how that plays a factor into every single game. Minutes split between these players, and I really think that helps out their stamina, especially in the 4th quarter. These late games that are close, they might have coming down the stretch. They're going to have a lot more energy to close out these closer games if it does come down to that.
Yeah, we'll try to hurry it up here because I want to get the list probably like 5-10 minutes. I want to try to hit on the comments again because I want to catch up with the videos. Again, we appreciate you guys so much for tuning into every episode so far, and as we cover the UConn women's basketball team this season and hopefully many more to come, right, Ryan? So again, I just want to start out. So entering this matchup, UConn, it looked like they entered the matchup with 73 points per game average on the season. That's a lot. That's a lot for a college team, right? The Huskies were 17-2 in games when they score at least 69 points. I saw prior to this matchup. So Ryan, I mean, of course, on paper, yes, UConn was going to win this ball game, and they did rather easily, right? I just want to say shout out to actually, again, it was Kristen Williams, I think, that led all scorers in today's ball game. Is that correct?
With 19, yeah.
Kristen Williams with 19, okay. And then, but entering this matchup, I saw that It was Kelsey Ransom, I think, for Georgetown. She was actually shooting pretty well, I think, on her free throw attempts coming into this game. So I obviously, UConn had a little bit of little bit of a threat, I guess you would say, coming into this game as far as Georgetown. I mean, they're not that good, they're not that bad. Talk a little bit about Bolden Morris, the forward for Georgetown, Ryan. I mean, she scored. Well, actually, she played 26 minutes. That was my fault. It was a Mary Claudery. Mary Claudery. Hopefully, I'm
Right.
saying that last name right. She scored 15, and she keeps her hot streak going this season. What did you see out of her?
Yeah, I mean, she led all starters and she came off the bench. And again, like we mentioned, the starters for the opposing team held under double digits. No starters reached double digits for Georgetown.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the opposing team that UConn plays struggled shooting 32% from the field as a team for Georgetown. UConn suffocating defense. I mean, UConn had 21 total steals in this game. Ducharme and Mule each had 6. We saw that in the last game as well. UConn forced so many turnovers, and that really just played a huge part. They have such firepower on offense, but UConn's defense, like I keep mentioning, it plays a huge part in why UConn is able to get these blowout wins. They force turnovers, they get in the fast break, and they score off of those turnovers. But Georgetown came into UConn today, not a great record at the bottom of the standings, and then they played them tough there for a little while. But UConn just over the course of the game just proved to be too much for the Hoyas.
Yeah, and I want to point out the fact that, of course, UConn, Gino and company knew that they had to have an answer for a Ransom. I mean, she's pretty good in the league. She led coming into this matchup. She was a player to watch, right? And she led Georgetown in points scoring, 12.8 a contest and assists. It looked like with about 4.3 per game. So again, she did not lead in points, that is, but again, that was Mary Claudery that led with 15. Ryan, yeah. So again, it's very important this home stretch. I never thought I would say that, against these, because it looks like, I mean, the biggest threat coming up when you look at the schedule, Ryan. The biggest threat is arguably, I want to say, I don't have the records right in front of me now. I want to say Marquette. I mean, it looks like
Yeah.
Marquette, St. John's, and Providence. So I think I looked earlier today, and the one with of course, Phil's going with the team with the best record. You never know who could upset you, but it looks like the biggest threat is this Wednesday coming up at 7 o'clock and against Marquette.
Yeah, and if you remember that last game against Marquette, I believe that was exactly 2 weeks ago, 2 Sundays ago. It was on Fox,
Super Bowl
and
Sunday. Yep.
Marquette played them so well, so tough
Yeah.
for those 3 quarters, and UConn blew away from them there at the end of the fourth quarter. But yeah, the last time Marquette came into UConn, it was a really, really tough game for this UConn Huskies team, and they had to battle it out. It was a really close game at halftime, so. Yeah, I think that's definitely the game to watch out for. Not saying that St. John's and Providence won't give the Huskies a tough time as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Marquette game should be something because I'm sure the Golden Eagles are pretty fired up to play UConn yet again, wanting to get some revenge against the Huskies.
Okay. So now that is out of the way, we had that taken care of. I saw a video, again, an update the other night after we finished one of the episodes. It wasn't too long ago. I think it was the very last episode, so about 2-3 nights ago. And I saw where they made a good point on, I think it's the SNY network. I'd have to look again. I believe it's some New York network, news station. They had reported that Paige Bueckers could be returning soon, very soon, right? So I go and check out the video, but I found it interesting. I wanted to get your opinion on this. They pretty much said that Gino, I mean, she's going all out in practice, pregame practice.
Right.
I believe she's going all out on her drills now, on the basketball drills. She's participating with the team in practice on the off days. So I think she's really, really close to coming back. But they made a good point at the end of that news, not a news conference, but at the end of the news report, they mentioned that it's not critical that you, and exactly what you said, it's not critical that, because she could return against Marquette, she could return against St. John's, and she could return against Providence. I strongly believe from what I see out of her, she could return this Wednesday. Will we see her against Marquette, St. John's, and Providence the way that news report was going? No.
And I highly doubt it.
And again, I'll let you talk, but it really made me think. I'm like, man, we have to talk about this on the next episode, because they talked about how critical it is right now. And again, you said it, aside from the fact that she could re-injure herself, which again, we don't need to see anything like that. I might want to just keep my mouth shut now while we're ahead. But not only that, I'm not saying it's going to be bad news when she returns. It throws the whole team off. But remember, we talked about this, Ryan, 2 or 3 weeks ago, how this group is playing so well right now. And against again, I'm not saying anything bad about Marquette, St. John's, and Providence. But I mean, come on, Ryan, 3 unranked teams. What's the rush of bringing Paige Bueckers back so quickly? So they said, and I was like, man, well, I'll tell Ryan Renner to keep him updated. Don't be surprised if we don't see Paige Bueckers until the tournament rolls around.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. And that's kind of when I think we all expected her to come back, was right before the tournament or during the tournament. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. I just don't think there's really any point to rush her back, or even if she's ready to come back and the training staff and the medical team says she can play. And I'm sure she obviously wants to play and get in there. Right. But yeah, there's just no reason to play her for these final 3 games. But yeah, certainly in March Madness at the start of the tournament, I would love to see her, even if she comes off the bench. She doesn't have to start and play 30 minutes a game. Even if she comes off the bench and plays 15, maybe even 20 minutes, I think that'd be great for the team. It'd be great for her spirits. And I'm sure everybody would love to see that as well.
Okay, now that we had that taken care of, so yes, now you had to keep me updated, Ryan. You're a professional at this. I'm not. It's the the conference, Big East.
Big East Conference, right?
Big East Conference. That tournament comes first, and then of course you had the final reveal of your rankings, and then that's when March Madness starts.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah.
So that's what they were talking about. They said that now let's just very quickly, because they were saying that she could come back for the conference tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, is that, yes, it's important, but I mean, would you risk, I mean, because that takes into account, you have to almost predict the committee. How are they going, if you lose a conference for some odd reason, the committee, where are they going to rank you then? Are you going to make March Madness? If you're the Huskies, I believe you still do. But what's your opinion on that? You bring her back for the tournament before the March Madness tournament?
I think it is a good possibility that we could see her coming off the bench and playing a little bit in that tournament. Again, I don't think they have to. I think, they're the UConn Huskies. If they lose in the Big East tournament, I think there's a very, very high chance that they still will be in March Madness. I think if they even if they win out and they win the Big East tournament, I still don't think they'll be a 1 seed unless we see these teams ahead of them in the AP poll. We'll go over that in a second, I guess. But some of these teams, the AP poll, if they start losing, we could see UConn sneak into a 1 seed. But the Big East tournament, it's important to them. But I don't think you have to rush Bueckers back. But I think there's a good possibility we could see her in that tournament.
Okay, we're almost out of time. We won't go over the rankings tonight since they'll be revealed tomorrow. Are they coming out tomorrow, the new rankings?
Right, yeah, tomorrow.
Okay, so we'll go over that this week coming up. Let's get to 3 comments. These last 3 comments, we're almost caught up on our comments. Again, we appreciate everyone commenting, watching the videos. Let's go over these 3 comments. Again, they're all for Ryan Renner. Spotlight on Ryan for these 3. Ryan, this was the game against DePaul. If you remember, February 11th, UConn Huskies bounced back against DePaul 84-60. We're going to go ahead and go. It's only 3. So very quickly, 3 comments. Paul Singer has for Ryan. Paul Singer goes, balanced scoring is always better and more effective than one player scoring 30.
Yeah, totally agree. And we saw that today with all these split minutes from UConn. Avina Westbrook coming off the bench, scoring 9, coming off the bench as well. I believe, some other players had 7 and 8 coming off the bench as well. And Nika Mule, she had 11 points. You had AZ scoring 12. So, I think these players starting to split minutes now with Olivia Nelson-Ododa and Ducharme coming back. I believe Ducharme had 7 and Olivia Nelson-Ododa had 8 in this game. So yeah, balance of scoring, balance attacking, I think is really, really good for this UConn team rather than somebody scoring 30 points every single game.
Next up's Grobel. I love it. He actually commented again the other day on the latest video. So again, we appreciate Grobel coming through again. Grobel says, Ryan, Fudd just had a bad shooting night. If you remember, again, this was a game against UConn Huskies bounce back against DePaul, 84-60. So they must have it was a loss before this win. It must have been. Ryan Grobel says Fudd just had a bad shooting night. Several shots were half down, rimmed out. She did play good defense. So Gino is probably pleased that she didn't let her bad shooting night get in her head on not playing defense. Young players who are known as scorers often let problems on the offensive end affect them on defense. DePaul also seemed extra determined to play her tough on defense after they saw her go for 25 and 29 in the last 2 games. Also, Fudd played 39 and 40 minutes the last 2. Stand by there. The last 2 games. I wonder if she was a bit tired. She is not used to those heavy minutes load. She normally plays 22 minutes range when she came back from injury. And Ducharme was healthy. Gino was able to spread minutes better. They are again down to 1 proven sub in Westbrook, and the other 2 are Gabriel and DeBerry, both bigs. UConn needs Ducharme back to not wear out the guards. She might be back by Friday. Don't see her playing Sunday. UConn is going to be extra conservative with all their injuries and just try to be healthy for the NCAA tourney. Whew, Ryan.
Yeah, you did a good job with that one. I'm glad you got through that one. Okay.
Oh man, I almost ran out of breath there. So hey, man, we really appreciate and keep the comments coming, everyone, because I mean we have obviously we have to consider longer episodes now because of these longer comments. But hey, we're all for it. We're here to talk about UConn women's basketball, right, Ryan? And I tell you what. So yeah, if you need the screen up in front of you, Ryan, you had to pull it up, but I can't read that again for you. You just had to. What was the most important pieces of information that you took out of that?
Right. No, I think I got it. Yeah, with Ducharme coming back and Olivia Nelson-Ododa as well. That is right. AZ playing 40, 39 minutes. And we saw today with Ducharme coming back, AZ, I believe she played 22 minutes. So it really helps her. It helps the whole team having more depth on the bench and helps the scoring as well. So yeah, I mean, she probably was a little bit tired, and we saw today they got that huge break off, and now the 4-game winning streak, 90 points again today. So I'd say they were pretty energized for this game today, and let's hope they can keep it up and everybody stays healthy.
And the last one was we appreciate her commenting. It looks like this young lady is her username is from the Birch. So she goes, Doug Bruno, DePaul coach, said their defensive strategy was to limit AZ so they couldn't double in the paint. Had AZ not been their defensive target. So no, it's not concerning that AZ only had 4. She opened the paint for everyone else, but she impacted the game in ways that won't show up on the stat sheet, but are still game changers. That's yes. Amen to that, because we keep saying it. Michaela Daniels taught us over and over, it is very possible in basketball to have great nights, Ryan, but you may not just show up as a star player on the stat sheet.
Yeah, I mean, the high scoring points are always nice, but I think that goes to show probably a little bit of what she's learned from Paige Bueckers. If Paige is struggling shooting the ball, we're always used to seeing her, leading the team and scoring every single night. But if she doesn't, she makes up for it on the defensive end. Not many people really see her game as a defensive style player, Bueckers that is. But I'm sure she's probably been teaching Ducharme and Fudd. Even if you have a bad shooting night, you can always make up for it on the defensive side of the ball. So again, I think that's a lot. It has a lot to do with why the Huskies are so successful, even though they shoot over 50% from the field every night, 70 to 90 points. It really, really does go to show how big their defense really is. And, all the steals, forced turnovers really plays a major, major role in why they're such a complete team.
Only 3 games left, Ryan, in the regular season. And looks like they all might, well, maybe not nail biters. I won't say that much, but I tell you, you're on the edge of your seat every game, huh? And it's going to get exciting. It really is. Guys, stay tuned for the next episode. We will be back actually Thursday early morning. We will bring that recap out for you. Not available until Thursday early morning. Ryan, maybe when the sun comes up, Marquette Golden Eagles, Connecticut Huskies. We're going to recap that game for you right here on Listen Up, right from the actually the game will be at what, Ryan? Connecticut is home. All three, the next 3, they're all home. So they finish the season out at home, and hopefully in high fashion, right?
Yeah, let's hope so. Right. Ready for the Big East tournament, and then headed into March Madness. So let's hope they can keep it going.
Let's hope they can keep it going. And the committee, let's hope the committee can be nice tomorrow, right? And maybe move back up to that 8 and number 7 hole, maybe number 6.
Yep.
We'll see. Again, final score 90-49 over Georgetown. UConn Huskies women's basketball 19-5 from the XL Center. It's Phil and Rye on Listen Up.